This order's to go. I'm terribly sorry about all the damage, sir. Well, I've been working out.
You're listening to League Podcast, episode 425. I'm Matt Durst.
And I'm
General. Oh,
I'm
sorry.
non-Hunt.
Kneel before Clay Inferno.
Well, welcome back. It's
Welcome
we're gonna
back.
welcome back. Welcome back.
This is not the
welcome back.
ooh. Is this the Mr. Kata episode? Ooh.
Oh, Mr. Kata? I don't know.
We'll have to wait.
This is
We'll
the
do
Mr.
that.
Kata.
We'll do that some other
Okay.
time. Not
We'll
when
do
we're
it.
at 425, the anniversary issue here.
We did we did a reference on 420 for Harrison Ford, the big pothead.
Hey, man.
That's
Harrison Ford 20.
Oh,
I'm
man.
full of puns today.
So we were gonna do today Superman 2.
Superman 2?
The other Superman, too.
And then the other Superman. We were all, we're gonna get them all in there because Superman 2, it's Superman 2, the DonnerCut. It's kind of one long big movie. It's crazy. It's a crazy thing. I feel like this movie. It's almost like one of those true crime podcasts. We should talk talk about it in one of those voices, like we're just reading from like those murder podcasts that are
Like on the skit on Portlandia where they have like Fred Armisen, and like the cops are just doing their regular jobs, and like there's somebody playing like plucking on a violin, and they're just narrating what the cops are doing. He's opening the paper drawer.
And those are very popular. There was an episode in The Simpsons about it too. It was really funny where Lisa and Marge were like obsessed with this like true crime podcast. But
Welcome to my house.
It's going to be our new format.
oh yeah,
Stacey is
that's what we
also
should do.
obsessed with all that stuff.
The true crime where an artist gets a movie ripped away from him.
Yes.
Which I don't know if that's what happened here or not. How do we want to start this? I guess start at the beginning.
You're driving this ship, pal.
As we normally do.
Yeah, you chose. You lead.
Are you ready?
Superman. Richard Donner was hired by the how do you pronounce it?
Salkinds.
Salkinds. Remember, it takes
Salkinds, I tell you.
Salkinds. Damn it, you beat me to it. I was pausing so I could stretch it out, but we hit the joke at the same time.
Oh, that was a good one.
Mutual joke.
So they hired Richard Donner. They got Marlon Brando. Then they got Mario Puzo to work on the script. They had all these ideas for this great Superman movie. And Richard Donner had just come off The Omen, so they were doing all right. Once they got Brando, it's like they got Gene Hackman. Of course, Brando screwed them in a way, like really, by getting all kinds of points stuff. But so they had this ginormous 500-page script for this huge Superman movie, and it was going to be 2 movies. And they filmed them simultaneously, not even back to back.
Yeah, so
Right.
filming on your Daily Planet set, you do all your Daily Planet shots at the same time.
Yeah. And then all the Fortress of Solitude and all the whatever. Man, that script supervisor must have really earned their money. It's like, let's keep everything. The script supervisor has to keep everything like consistent from scene to scene. Imagine 2 movies. My God.
And I mean, you got to figure like Mario Puzo, famously like well known for the God. This time it really is known for the Godfather. So he has like big ideas. So you can see how that they wanted to cram a lot in.
But then they brought in Tom Mankiewicz to kind of mold it. Who was the writer on Diamonds Are Forever, Live and Let Die, and The Man with the Golden Gun. 3 of my least favorite Bond films.
there was tension though. The movie started to go over budget. There was,
Well, Don said he never.
Richard Donner said he never saw. Right, he never saw the budget. Yeah. It's all kinds of craziness. The first one comes out and it is a success. So because there was also this talk like by Richard Donner and his crew, Mank included, that like, well, if we do one and it doesn't make a lot of money, then like what's the point of saving stuff for the second movie? Why don't we just put all this stuff in the first movie? So, but it does come out and it's a success. And Richard Donner is all set to work on the next one. And he's waiting for the call.
And there was like, for 2, wasn't there like at least 75% of it shot?
Right.
Yes, a good portion of it was shot. But then they were like, hey, all right, we got moving along. We need to finish this. We can't keep spending money. And he's like, all right. And that's why they use that. Another reason they use that ending. Which is supposed to be the ending. It's supposed to be the ending.
If I could turn back time.
Which is an ending I never really liked anyway.
It sort of ruins. Because me and Mrs. Elder we watched the DonnerCut last night, and we watched Superman, the movie.
Superman?
Just finished it a half hour before I signed on.
So
and I said, this ending ruins the movie for me and the other movie.
Right. It ruins everything. Like Superman can just do this.
Yeah.
No matter what happens. If he's 5 minutes late for a meeting with Perry White, why didn't he just go, I'll be right back, Perry. And just fly around.
I'm sorry, Mr. White.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Anyway, so Pierre Spengler was also one of the producers of the movie. And there's many different stories about what happened. But one of the stories was that Richard Donner said, if that guy's coming back, I ain't coming back. And they chose Spengler.
And they also during the filming, they brought on Richard Lester to kind of help out.
Another James Bond guy, right? Didn't he work on something?
No, Richard Lester. Let me tell you who Richard Lester is for a second.
Sorry.
Get out of my way. Try to speak. Richard Lester is famous for doing the Beatles' Hard Day's Night. Like that was his big claim to fame, and helping launch the Beatles into the stratosphere. And he came on to the Superman movie because the Salkinds owed him money for like him doing like Three Musketeers movies for him. So they're like, "We'll finish paying you if you help us out." Which seems like, shouldn't you be paying me more because I already did the job I should have been paid for? Fucking.
Yeah. So, but apparently he told Richard Donner, he's like, hey, I'm not here to help. I'm just here to be the go-between, between the Salkinds and you. And
I'm your guy. I'll be the guy.
And he may have legitimately thought that at the time. I don't know.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about any of this. Is just.
I'll say something bad about Richard Lester. He did Superman 3. So
hey now.
I rest my case.
Yeah. Right. Then we could do a whole podcast about that crappy movie too. Maybe next time.
Maybe.
Nobody's talking about that one. Everybody talks about this one.
Yes.
So anyway, they went with Lester. So because after he said, all right, if you're bringing back Spengler, I don't want to do it. And so they said, fine. And so even though there was 75% of the movie done, they brought in Lester. And then he had to go and shoot at least 50% of it in order to get full credit. Otherwise, they would have to get co-directors. And although Richard Donner had no desire, he's like, I don't do partial credit. So even though stuff that was done, he had to go and reshoot at least 50% of the movie. So sometimes it was like just a quick cut in or something. Like it was very strange. But there was also a lot of stuff that he took out and added. He added a lot of the goofiness.
Yeah, like that guy on the phone.
Yeah,
getting blown around.
That's pretty bad. So he trashed a lot of the footage. He wanted the comic, like the old school comic booky kind of feel to it, and just
the camp, like the Batman 66.
Yeah. Margot Kidder apparently didn't like him at all. Most of the actors were Team Donner. In fact, Gene Hackman didn't come back to shoot anything, and the president, E.G. Marshall, didn't come back. So they did like
that
body
whole
doubles.
everybody, Nebe, Valerie Perrine, E.G. Marshall, none of them came back. They didn't want anything to do with it.
Valerie Perrine had already been fired, apparently, right? I mean, she just disappears.
That's the marker.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
This test marker.
I guess, yeah, but I never really noticed that. So I was like looking at the trivia for this, and I was like, yeah, I guess she's gone. I just figured she was, I don't know,
sort of like how Ultra
still
Magnus
or
disappeared at the end of Transformers the movie, and I never noticed until Durson pointed it out.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, apparently she got fired. I mean, it's just crazy. Like, I mean, it's so weird. All these, like, everybody, obviously Brando wasn't brought back either.
Yeah, they didn't want to pay him more money.
They didn't want to pay him all that money. So they put his mom in, which actually I don't mind.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me.
It's good to have, well, from the both cuts, like you see Zor-El and Lar-El, both important to the Superman mythos, both good, you know, in the genre of comic book things to have in there. It's pretty awesome to have both the mom and the dad.
I don't know. I feel like in that one, the Lester cut, his mom is like nicer. She's like, I don't know, whatever.
Well, that's mom's for you.
Mom's got a mom, you know what I mean?
Yeah, mom's got a mom, exactly.
Please be Somerset mom. People be Somerset mom.
All right. Let's just do the quick. So one of the differences is the three villains, the Kryptonians, General Zod, Ursa, and Non, who are... One thing that this movie does do is show a lot of the first movie in like the first like
hour.
Yeah, it's so long.
That's all right. I liked it.
I don't think I ever saw the original until I was like an adult, and I never had to because they play so much of it at the beginning of this one. So anyway, so those three criminals are sentenced to life in the Phantom Zone by Jor-El. And then
by the council, and then Jor-El has to make it.
He's the final. Right.
Yeah.
He's the final vote. And Terrence Stamp as General Zod is awesome, and he's so mad.
I have to inject a factoid that's for the Superman super fans out there. There was supposed to be 4 original Kryptonian villains in Exile. Somebody named Jax L was supposed to be there, and he was kind of like a Loki, like a jokester kind of thing, but he was
I think it was Jack L as in jackal, like a jackal.
A Jack L, yeah.
Oh, you played the jackal in our Spider-Man audio comic.
That's right. I probably did better than this guy would have. He didn't make, like, they never filmed anything.
The character was never cast, and he didn't make it in.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, three's a good number, you know, to have.
You know what they say: 2's company, but 3's a regiment.
That's right.
And when they're stuck in the Phantom Zone, I always just thought that was like totally like a Fleetwood Mac album cover, because it's like exactly 12 by 12, and it looks like Fleetwood Mac, and it's flying through space and everything. And that was my favorite scene as a little kid. I was like, I can't believe they're like stuck inside the flat record.
Yeah, it's like the beginning of Christmas Story, where he's got his face pressed up against the window, looking at all the toys. That's what it's like to be an eternity of doing that.
Oh man,
eternity of looking at toys that you'll never have.
Yeah.
So in the 2 different movies, there's 2 different versions. In the DonnerCut, it is the nuclear missile that he redirected, that Lex Luthor had shot off. He shot into space, and that's what causes the 3 villains to get released.
Yes, I actually like that better.
It does tie it in better. Yes, this one, there's this whole terrorist trying to blow up the Eiffel Tower thing, and he throws the elevator with the bomb in it into space.
And they like talk about it too, like when in the Fortress of Solitude, when Lara L says something like, the only thing that could possibly break someone free from the Phantom Zone is like a nuclear weapon or something. I don't know.
Good. We don't even have those around here, so
don't worry about that. But just in case it happens, if there's similar powered villains to you that happen to be flying around in a Fleetwood Mac album cover, pressed up against the glass,
the movie.
But just make sure there's no exploding nuclear bombs around that. That's bad.
Yeah.
Got that, Cal?
So, yeah, the villains are released, and I like the scene on the moon. That's still pretty good, although I don't know if it's...
I like that, too.
I don't know if it's better in the Lester cut. I don't know. Honestly, I don't remember much about the Lester cut in that scene. They're pretty similar, but I like when she kicks the guy in the balls, and he goes off into space.
In Japan, they had to cut that out because they didn't want people to see a woman being that dominant.
I know. Weird, huh? I read that too. Anyway, but then they learn about this place called Houston.
First, I'd like to talk about Houston for 1 second, because in Superman 1, when they fire off the missiles, it's Cliff Clavin is the guy that can't get the missile to stop. And then in Superman 2, he's at NASA headquarters or whatever.
Yeah, he got
what's a curve?
He got promotion, or he got transferred because he did a shit job with the nuclear missile.
John Ratzenberger, a.k.a. Cliff.
He pops up in a lot of movies around that time in very small parts. He's in Empire Strikes Back too.
That's right. He's on Hoth.
I think in Man of Steel they made one of the army guys named Ratzenberger too. It wasn't him, but they named the character to tribute to them. And
I'll drop a little more knowledge on you. The other guy that he's talking to is an actor named Shane Rimmer, who did the voice of Scott Tracy on Thunderbirds. And Thunderbirds, the tie-in is Derek Meddings, the special effects guy on Thunderbirds, is also the special effects guy on the Superman movies. Wow. And his final movie was GoldenEye. Then he died of cancer.
Oh, that's rough. So, but anyway, yeah. So they go off to this place called this planet Houston, which I always thought was, and for some reason I didn't know until recently that it's Houston, Idaho, or something, right?
I didn't notice that until I watched this cut, and I was like, I just assumed that the NASA stuff was Houston, where the
Texas.
Right.
Well, it's not there. I didn't know that until right now.
Well, yeah, it's not a huge deal, but it's kind of weird. So here's where some of the things, the differences, and obviously you're kind of, so they were stuck because Richard Donner didn't really want to deal with any Richard Lester stuff. He said it hurt him, or that's what they suspect. They were just kind of okay, so we'll just. He did one of the clips that I saw. He's like, they hired some fellow. I don't remember his name. All right.
Well, you know what?
The same first name as you.
I do want to address the fact that Lois Lane jumps out the window of the Daily Planet.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I'll let you get there. Sorry, just hit me.
No, that's exactly where I was going, and I was like, this doesn't work.
And they were. I think they were putting this out. They were working on this around the same time that Bryan Singer was doing his Superman Returns. And I always wondered if that was Brandon Routh they have in the window going, Lois, are you okay?
I don't think it is, but they did say it was different actors. I did note that today, and they used one prop from Superman Returns for some reshoots that they stuck in the DonnerCut, which is the green piece of crystal that starts the Fortress of Solitude. They included that in the DonnerCut somehow, but it was leftover footage from Superman Returns.
That's a dumb thing, though. I mean, I like it's goofy anyway, but I mean, just Lois figuring out he's Superman and then jumping out the window. And then him not saving her. His secret identity means more to him than saving this woman who he loves. I mean, it's better the way they do it at Niagara Falls.
Yeah, it's still goofy, but it's better.
She's not. I mean, she's in danger, but
that's an easier rescue if you had something that you we got to get some guys with boats to get her or something, you know?
Yeah. And then she ends up rescuing him, which is even funnier. She ends up pulling, and she's like, "You're the guy I thought was Superman." But when you jump out the window, that is it. Like either you are splattered or Superman rescues you. Yeah. But he goes down and he blows the wind, like up, and he shoots a thing like an awning down, so she lands on it. It's just my god.
But the funny thing was watching the movies back to back as we did. I noticed that the fruit stand is there in Superman the movie. Mm-hmm. I noticed that when Perry White is asking for like coffee, no sugar to Jimmy Olsen, then he makes someone else do it. They do that joke again at the end of the DonnerCut of Superman 2, where someone knocks on the window as he's walking by. He's like, coffee, no sugar. And so this guy has to keep getting coffee for Perry White.
Yeah, they kept things pretty consistent.
And I also thought that too, because I was noticing that there's like a hole in the ground in Superman 2 during that part where they're blowing the wind and the fighting and they throw the bus and stuff. There's a hole in the ground. There's like men working. And I'm wondering if that's from where Superman drilled into the ground to get Lex Luthor.
Swirled.
Oh, look at that.
Way down there.
But those are only things I was picking up by watching the movies.
Right, you would never know that.
Probably going to revisit one after having watched Superman 2, just like you did. Sounds like a fun thing to do. It's one of my favorite movies. I love it.
So then the other difference is they use footage from a screen test.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough.
She's got Lois and Clark are in Niagara Falls because Perry sends them there to say, there, it's a racket. So it's a weird thing.
Under they're like a fake honeymoon couple.
Right. Pretend you're going on a honeymoon So they're getting dressed up to go to dinner, and she's in a towel just for whatever reason. She pulls out a gun and says, okay, if you're Superman, it's not gonna hurt. And she shoots him and nothing happens. And then he's like, well, if I wasn't Superman, Clark Kent would be dead. And she's like, not from a blank. It's still a little weird. I still don't know how I feel about that.
I don't like that scene because first of all, it's a dumb scene. And second of all, it's a screen test. It's multiple screen tests because like his hair is changing in the shots. And I'm just like, it just pulls me right out.
Yeah. It's
also the DonnerCut. I feel like their effects work is like PlayStation 1 level of effects. Where they were doing new effects work, and I was like, "This is bad."
Or something, right?
Yeah, in 2006. Yeah, like that shot of the Washington Monument collapsing looks terrible. Them being freed from the Phantom Zone looks terrible. Mrs. Elder was like, "Wait, these were made in 2006." I was like, "Yeah." That's why I sent you guys the link to the fan edit that did it better.
Well, I do want to say, and I know, because Clay especially knows how I feel about recuts and re-edits and this, whatever. We'll get to the Snyder Cut.
I don't like it
either, but that is a lot of work. Like, they had to find 25-year-old footage and literally cut it with scissors and tape and everything, and to try to, because normally you get all these extra frames of film and then you cut them and throw them away pretty much. But I mean, you don't throw them away. But so they had to find all these tiny little cuts. So it's almost death by 1,000 cuts. It's like so monotonous. But I mean,
and there's
sometimes though, just because you have the footage doesn't mean you should do it. I mean, you don't need to have the Washington Monument fall over. It looks dumb and it doesn't really mean anything in the movie. So why do it? It just looks bad.
Well, I was just gonna say there's a bunch of disclaimers at the front of it. It's like, we did some stuff and we didn't mean to, this is what we could do. It's what we wanted to do. And you can even see Richard. Richard Donner being kind of like, I didn't really want to do it, but then there was a fan demand kind of thing, and all right. You know what I mean?
It's almost
not like completely invested. Like everything's digital now, so however you feel about it, the new Justice League cut is going to look like a whole movie. It's not going to look like this thing does.
Oh, it's going to look like twice the movie that the other one was. It's like 4 hours long, for Christ's sake. Anyway, we'll get to that. But the whole point is she knows he's Superman, and then it's a whole thing. he takes her to the Fortress of Solitude. He makes a souffle. X-ray vision, which is really weird. They sleep together, which apparently Margot Kidder is like, looking back, I agree with the prudes. It was a little weird, but I don't know why. I mean, whatever. But meanwhile, while he's banging Lois, these three villains have landed at Houston. They're like, fucking shit up. This in the DonnerCut, they kill that little kid.
Like, what did they kill? Because when I was watching it, it didn't happen, and I didn't think it happened. I didn't even remember seeing it.
The version that I saw, he's riding away on a horse.
Yeah, that's what I was saying to Mrs. Elder. I was like, I guess they're not doing the thing where he's riding away on a horse, and he said he was just a boy, and now he'll never be a man. I thought that was in it.
I don't know. That's the version I saw. I had never seen that before.
I must have
takes the siren from the top of the police car that he took earlier, throws it, and it's just there's this explosion, and you don't really know. And she said, "He was just a boy, and he'll never be a man."
Maybe I hit the fast forward button or something over it because I clearly remembered it, and then I didn't see it last night.
It's pretty disturbing. I mean, holy shit, to kill that little kid. Wow.
Also, the sheriff guy was from two of Mankiewicz's James Bond movies, essentially playing the same character.
Oh.
I do like how the villains, when they arrive on Earth, they're kind of fish out of water thing, and like Earth is so badass. They're like, "Do you see what I could do? Do you see that?"
It's also odd is that snake bites her, and she's like, "Ow." See, look, I'm going to be super nitpicky. Sorry.
Shouldn't not feel it at all. But...
Superman movie logic is all over the place. I still enjoy these first two films.
Yeah.
But it's inconsistent in its...
well, I guess knowing how it was made, it's kind of easy to understand why it was so all over the place. It's a miracle they even got it as good as it did, as it was. So, anyways.
Those villains are badass.
They find out, we'll go to the president, and whatever. Who is this?
Anyway, who's Lolita?
Yes. I answer, that general guy says, I answer only to the president. It's like, all right, then he shall answer to me. So they go to the White House. The classic Lester version has them shoot the Mount Rushmore. I missed that in the DonnerCut, but that's the classic goofiness of the Lester version versus the Donner version. But yeah, they go to the White House, they throw everybody all over the place, and then out of nowhere he goes, "Okay, I surrender all of my authority to General Zod." Boop, that's it.
Yeah, he's like on the TV going, "I surrender the entire world to General Zod." Yeah, right. It's like, wait.
Meanwhile, Superman's having a little discussion with his dad in the DonnerCut. That he loves this woman, and his dad says, well, you can't have both. You can't be Superman and be in love with an Earth lady. It doesn't really explain why, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't see the logic in that, but okay.
Why can't I just love an Earth lady and still save people? It's like you can't do both, is basically what he's saying. You can't save them and be part of them or something. I mean, I don't know. It's weird, but...
There's all sorts of religious overtones, too, about Jesus
right.
and Superman all the time and whatever.
Yeah, it's true. There are a lot of those.
And whatnot.
Casting Satan out of, who General Zod is Satan. That's kind of a religious thing there and all that.
Satan, get in the album cover.
Yeah, right. Get in there, Satan. So he goes in the little chamber. Lois is standing there in her socks and her Superman shirt.
Her Superman jammies.
Yeah, her Superman jammies. So they say, okay, once you do this, there's no going back. Which, of course, he goes back in about 10 minutes. But that's all right.
Yeah. So they get in their car that they had at the Fortress of Solitude and drive down to a diner, and then Clark gets beat up in both versions.
Right. That one is consistent. This jerky guy, Clark comes out and says, "Excuse me, sir, I believe you're in my seat." And he says, "Your seat's in there, buddy," which I think is, or "Your seat's in there, Four Eyes," which is kind of funny because he came out of the toilet. So I thought that was a pretty funny line.
Yeah, it's funny because he's like asked Lois, like, "Hey, can I buy you something to eat?" It's usually like, "Can I buy you a drink?" It's like, "Can I buy you some moons?"
Can I buy you a grease burger?
Can I buy you some moons over my hammy?
Maybe he knows that's the way to her heart. I mean, earlier on, she got hot dogs and orange juice.
Sounds like something to eat as a kid.
And a hamburger. Give me a hamburger, Clark. It's always food.
Anyway, but like, yeah, so like he's now depowered and he gets beat up by this guy pretty easily.
See, here's another issue I have. Superman can take on 3 bad guys with his Superman strength. So that's the equivalent of like if a me was fighting 3 people. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So he should be able to handle himself kind of okay against this guy. Maybe not beat him, but he should certainly be able to like not just sit there and get sucker punched like 3 times.
He did get hit in the back. If that's any consolation. I think it was more
then he stood up right in front of him and he got punched in the stomach.
I know. Yeah.
Kick him in the head and punch him in the stomach or whatever.
Whatever he used to say. I do like the scene where he sees his own blood and he seems kind of like it's almost more psychological that he's and he's like, my blood. That's my blood. Like it's kind of like he's never got beat up before, you know? Like
he doesn't know what it feels like. He's like,
yeah.
Ouch.
So I did like that bit. But yeah, so then he just goes back, like, because he sees Zod on TV, and he's like, "Oh, it's my fault," or whatever. Like, well, because his president's like, "Where are you, Superman?" So he just walks right back.
Superman.
Well, I like to imagine that when that truck drives by and he's like, "Hey," it's the trucker that beat him up, and he's like, "Fuck you."
Like, hey, that's that guy I just beat up. So then at the end, when he goes and kicks his ass, it's all good.
Which in the DonnerCut, I have something to say about that.
All right, we'll get there. So
I was like, then he shows up at the Fortress of Solitude, and Clay's there and goes, "Just kidding, here you go."
Basically, yeah. I mean, like, there's nothing that's. I guess he's just nothing. There's. That's why it was better with the mom.
Yeah.
You know, the mom was like,
but I don't think they show anything in the
Lester
cut. Like he goes there. Does he see like a green glow or something, and that's it?
I don't think.
I can't remember.
It's a little more dramatic because you don't really know what happens until he shows up.
This one, his dad goes like, "Look at, I know what I said, but all right, now for real this time. This is the real last time you can do it.
Now you are gonna be Superman."
Yeah. No more take backs. That's it. No more.
And like, why would you ever give this up, you idiot? We'll give you one do-over.
I did say that to Mrs. Elder. I'm like, look, I love you and everything, but I think I would have to put just think of all the good you could do with all that Superman power.
I'd find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
It's a difference anyway. Jor-El is dead. You can't
he says so in the first movie. He's been dead for thousands of years.
Yeah, it's so funny how in this and in Man of Steel, like they have Zor-El, and he's like a computer that's all the AI, and this is exactly what Zor-El would say or do, but like it's really like he's just a regular character, and you're just chatting with his dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it looks so funny too, with his head just like Mrs. Elder was like, "Oh, Biondo." Don't get me wrong, we were having a great time watching it. You know, I still enjoy this. I'm just being super nitpicky.
The DonnerCut is it's a tough watch. It's not a normal movie. It's got, you have to just sort of.
I think it's for fans. I mean, you can't just be like, "Oh, what are you watching?" DonnerCut. It's like,
right.
I would gladly watch it many times, but I might have to turn it when Mrs. Spurno walks in the room. Like, why does it look so weird?
It is. But anyway, so they're at the White House. Zod is apparently in charge of everything, just sitting around. I don't know. They're not really doing anything. Non is playing with the balls. The what do they call that thing?
I think that's what they call it.
The balls.
consuming me sugary.
I forgot. Anyway, they end up going to Metropolis. Oh, because Lex
Luthor shows up.
How did I forget this? We haven't mentioned Lex Luthor at all, which is funny because we didn't get into. We mentioned Miss Tessbarker, but yeah, like Luthor found his way to the Fortress of Solitude and figured out that that's where Superman lives, and going to use that information to bargain with General Zod. So yeah, and he goes and he's like, okay, yeah, so if we go, I know how to get Superman to show up. So they go to the Daily Planet, and he's like, this little lady, and he have a special bond. I also want to point out really quick, so Gene Hackman would not wear a bald cap except for the prison scenes. So instead he's wearing like a goofy wig.
Yeah.
How is that better? I don't understand. Yeah. He didn't want to see himself as a bald man, maybe?
Yeah, but in some scenes he's got his regular hair, which he's going bald at the time. So yeah. I was like, why? Yeah, should have just. He looked fine with the bald cap.
Yeah. Weird. Anyways.
Yeah. There was also, what was that story about the mustache, too? He didn't want to shave his mustache or something. You know that story?
Oh, I don't know. That's not the Joker. I thought you were talking about the Joker. That's the Joker on Batman,
I like that
right?
too. But
this was the thing with Donner set him up with some. I'm not going to tell the story because I can't remember it right. I don't need someone yelling at the podcast like Red Shirt Brian getting all upset that I can't remember this.
He's probably doing it right now. Thanks for listening, Brian.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Zod is about to kill them all. He's not very patient. He's going to kill
Lex baby.
Lex. He's gonna Lex baby. He's gonna kill all of them.
We were disappointed that the DonnerCut didn't have that. Haven't these people ever heard of doorknobs before? Or whatever. that joke got cut out. We were sad about that because we make that reference a lot in this household here at Castle Stardust.
Oh, very good. In North Dakota.
Yes.
So he flies up and Superman flies up and he says, "I'm not a coward, Zod."
It's like the weird thing is in the Lester cut he says, "Would you care to step outside?" And the Donner cut he says, "Haven't you ever heard of freedom of the press?"
Right.
Which I'm like, well, you guys really didn't want to use any Lester footage, huh?
I know, like not even like a good line, like one line. So the fight. I mean, this is the whole movie's been building up to this fight with this, all these Kryptonians, and it's a pretty cool fight. Now, as a little kid, I thought this was the baddest ass thing. I mean,
hell yeah!
Oh, it's so cool. All the different the part with the mirror to shine his X-ray vision back at him, throwing him into the Coca-Cola thing. Some nice product placement there. Some Marlboro product placement.
It's a Vita product placement.
They were the biggest sponsor of the film, Marlboro.
Yeah, I mean, like in the Lester cut, Lois Lane is like chain smoking.
Yeah,
she doesn't. She smokes a little bit in the Donner cut.
Well, in the credits, at the very end of the credits of the Donner cut, he's like, I've changed since this movie was made in the late '70s. I've changed my view on smoking and cruelty to animals. So. It does not reflect my current beliefs in, smoking and furs.
Yeah, all the footage I saw of him, he has this big fur with the Ghostbuster sign. Like, he has this button on. That's whatever. But anyway, it's funny because apparently smoking trucks.
I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
It's like
fur, anti-fur.
He's wearing a pit that says no.
No, I get it. I had to piece it together, the visual image.
I know
in my head.
Took me a while, but I got it. The funny thing is, smoke trucks that deliver cigarettes aren't marked because they don't want people I don't know.
They don't want people throwing Superman into them.
They don't want them pulling a Goodfellas.
Right, that's what it is. It's security reasons, really. So. I'm going to say, we talk a lot about different actors playing different superheroes these days, and everybody's played a superhero, but man, it's tough. You're going to be hard pressed to beat a Christopher Reeve Superman here. I agree.
He's perfect. As I was saying last night, I was like, this was the role this man was born to play. That's how I feel about Brosnan and James Bond. Like, some people just are supposed to play a part or be involved in some sort of thing.
And this was Chris Reeves' favorite movie of the franchise as well.
I agree with him. The part where they're gonna throw the bus and he's like, the people, like, yeah, I don't know, I'm not doing it justice, but it's very dramatic. Like, you can tell he really cares, and not
he plays sincere very well.
Yeah.
And his Clark Kent, it really is like slouchy and not cool and doesn't look awesome at all. Like he really can do it. He can have it both with great acting.
I remember him saying something about he like based his Clark Kent sort of on like old Cary Grant comedies.
That's pretty. He was a stage trained, guy. Like, nothing against. I mean, I love a lot of the current superhero movies, but the heroes don't play it like heroic the same with the same
I feel the only one that comes close is Chris Evans.
Yeah, I agree.
It's Johnny Storm.
I mean, I love them all. I love Tony Stark, but like that, it's just that one moment to me really like speaks to me. When he's like, "No, the people," and like they throw the bus and he stops it. And, it's great. It's really Christopher Reeves. And as a kid too. Oh my God, I was so into this. We had a pink towel in my house, and I used to wrap it around my neck like a red, because it was like the closest thing I had to a red cape. I would pretend to fly around. Like, I love this movie.
The other thing we did at the time of this movie is we were making our own little audio dramas of Superman, essentially based on the movie Superman stuff.
With my brother.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because every time Thurston says Ursa, I always think of it was like non and Ursa, whatever.
She didn't even get to do her own voice. Maybe
Who was that guy in the black suit anyway? That's the other one.
That was our Superman. Anyway, yeah. So big fans, and I think it was because Christopher Reeve played it so well, and like it was so convincing, and yeah. So.
And I've got the General Zod sticker from the Superman Topps trading cards on my refrigerator from Richard.
I used to have those.
I have a non somewhere, like a non sticker. All right, so
like a no prize,
like a non
sticker.
It's a non sticker. Yeah. Anyway, Superman then in both cuts he just rather than endanger people some more, he takes off.
It seems like that endangers them more.
Yeah, why don't? Because
I mean, if they started following right away, I'd be like, okay, yeah, no, this makes absolute sense. But they don't.
No, they don't. In fact, and then they kidnap Lois, or not again, but if talk about endangering her. They take Lois. They take because Lex knows where he lives. He has Superman's address, as he says. So they go to the Fortress of Solitude, and where the hell? I don't know where this is, but how long does it take them to fly up there? And isn't it fucking cold?
On the North Pole.
North. Lois, it's pretty damn cold out there. Anyways,
but she says something. She's like, Clark says, "Are you cold?" And she's like, "No, I should be, but I'm actually fine." Like, just to so they can explain it to the world, so they don't have to talk about it.
I mean, I guess.
But I mean, that's right. I forgot about that.
That's when you're in there, but when you're flying up there on Non's back, wouldn't you be cold?
Yeah, probably cold.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares? I don't want to nitpick like John.
Yeah, no, that's like.
I think you guys both want to nitpick.
That's what this is for, nitpicking. Right. Where else am I gonna do this?
Yeah, what am I gonna do? Just talk about how great it is?
What am I gonna go go to the gas station and be like, fill it with the unleaded? And you know what bugs me about Non in this movie?
He can't shoot the laser.
But that's only in the Lester cut. In the DonnerCut, he seems perfectly capable.
So they get up there. In the Lester cut, there's all these. Superman has all these goofy powers, which they never explain. Fanboys hate this.
The famous cellophane S that he throws.
S.
Which doesn't even do anything. Like, it disappears. it's
Yeah, it was
makes
funny.
no sense.
Everything, Mrs. Elder, she's like, oh yeah, I was talking about this with someone at work once about the giant bearskin rug that he trips over and falls into the fire, and that's how she finds out he's Superman. I was like, it doesn't happen in this version. She's like, oh, I remember this part at the end. There's a bunch of Supermans around. I'm like, it doesn't happen in this version. She's like, when he throws the giant S, I'm like, none of that happens in this version.
That's literally stuff just put in there so Richard Lester could get full credit, like pretty much.
I don't know if I'd want to take credit for any of those.
I think that's why the fanboys like the DonnerCut better. Anyways, he, it's like, okay, kneel before Zod. And he's like, get in there. Because first he
yes, we're doing this alphabetically, so kneel before Zod. That's why I'm in line at the lunch counter in front of you. Kneel before Zod.
Well, he has,
first or before Zod, also before Zod. So
everyone.
Hey, get in the back, Zod. Everybody, Clark's first. We'll get through. It's a buffet. We can't have buffets now.
No, we can't. So he conspires with Lex, Superman and Lex.
Yeah.
Have a little chat, and he says, "Okay, so if they go in this chamber, they'll lose their powers and become like everyone else." And Lex immediately turns and goes, "Ha ha! Nope. That chamber's gonna rob you of your powers.
Don't do it."
So he's like, "Oh," and then they're like, "Well, then you go in there."
Is actually sort of funnier at that part because he keeps trying to grab Luthor. He's like, "You slime," and he's like, "Eh." It just made us chuckle a lot.
So Superman gets in the chamber. The red kryptonite, I guess,
It's
just red light, I guess. I don't know, whatever it is. It robs outside.
It's like the red sun of Krypton.
Yes, the red sun of Krypton. So anybody outside the chamber loses their powers. But it's a very cool moment in both cuts where, like, he's kneeling before Zod. Zod puts his hand out, and Superman takes it and crushes it. And I always like that scene. And it's like the dramatic, John Williams score, who also we should mention, did not come back.
Did not come back, but it was Ken Thorne or something like that.
He was busy with, did you ever hear that movie, that really old movie, The Empire Strikes Back? He was busy doing that, and Raiders. But he let them use the Salkinds.
Yeah, I'm glad, because
he let them use the theme and recommended his friend Ken Thorne to do the rest.
I had that record, that score, and it had like a laser, like Superman logo, like on the record itself. It had this like holographic laser.
Oh, that's
etched.
Cool, man.
It was real neat.
I remember that.
Like, think about what a role John Williams was on at the time. He did Jaws, he did Star Wars, Close Encounters, Superman, Empire, Raiders. Like, there's no stopping that son of a bitch. He was just on fire.
So many characters.
Yeah, he doesn't need to come back for Superman 2. Like, he's like, I'm good. Because he also didn't like the Salkinds either.
Yeah, it sounds like nobody liked them.
Yeah, they sound like real pricks.
My favorite thing that the Salkinds, like, when they were thinking who to cast for Superman, was like, Muhammad Ali. That seems like a good one, right? You're like, what?
He's not even an actor, first of all.
Yeah.
They had some weird choices. Anyway, so he crushes Zod's hand, picks him up by the belt, and chucks him all the way across the thing.
And then he slides into the abyss.
Yeah.
Which, man, watch your step if you're living in
what? Like, what if you were Lois and you just tripped and fell?
Yeah.
Like,
he slides into his DMs.
And then I like poor Non. He's like, oh, I could just fly over there. Woo! He also falls into the abyss.
Yeah.
My personal friend Non.
Yes,
that's right.
Friend.
Yeah.
Non.
Also one of my relatives.
Played Non-Ferno.
What's his name? Jack O'Halloran.
Yeah, O'Halloran. Yeah. Jack O'Halloran.
Jack O'Halloran. Jack Hunt. Do you know Jack O'Halloran?
Then Ursa is there. She's got Lois, but Lois just says, you're a real pain in the neck. Punches her. Apparently, a few takes, she actually did one take she knocked her right out, but that's right. Knocks her
Good.
into the abyss.
She's a bad lady. She should get knocked out.
No, but I mean the actress.
Oh.
But anyways,
Ronald Reagan, the actor.
My first crush, Ursa, possibly.
I was thinking, like, watching this, I was like, oh, she's an attractive lady.
Yeah.
Like, I had never really thought much about it before.
Oh, I'm with Clay.
I thought she was maybe a member of Fleetwood Mac. I didn't know. I was 5.
I like
the
the pants with the slit all the way up the leg like that.
Yeah, I was sort of like, why didn't I get one of those?
I like the short hair. I like a short hair girl. Don't tell my girlfriend with long hair.
Normally I'm not, but I know she's kind of like a goth chick.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
she's sort
about.
of like Pat Benatar, actually. She makes me think of.
Or like Death from Death Sandman.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the
I like a chick who could beat me in arm wrestling and just throw me over like she did.
I like a chick who can kick me in the balls and I go all the way to the moon.
I like a chick that like belittles me and says, "On this planet, men wear jewelry while the women don't."
I know.
Look what I can do!
Sick burn. So anyway, evil is vanquished. Lex Luthor is
So well, here's like in the Donner cut, they
leave him there.
They leave him there and then they blow the place up.
It's true.
Superman killed, like everyone complaining in Man of Steel that Superman killed Zod. Well, he already did it in this one.
I know, and they
I think
all
people
died.
were complaining about. Yeah, I mean he broke his neck, but in Man of Steel, like millions of people would that whole city would everybody would.
Yeah, and I had issues with Man of Steel too, and I didn't hate that movie, but I actually liked it a lot at the time. I think I don't anymore because then the following year, Captain America, which one? Winter Soldier, or was that the second one?
Yeah.
Civil War. No, wait, which was the second one? Yeah, Winter Soldier.
That one was so good. I was like, this is what Superman should be. They got it right with Captain America. A noble hero.
I know. Well, that's the problem. Nothing against Henry Cavill. I think he's a great actor and other things I've seen him in, but he did not have it. He did not have. He's not.
He didn't have any. He didn't have the scripts to work with. So.
Well, that's true too. Yeah. So yeah, it's blowing up the Fortress of Solitude is kind of a weird choice too. Why bother? Is it because he's like part of humanity now, or what? What's the deal with that?
But he's not. He's not part of humanity. He only was for 5 minutes, and then.
But is he kind of? I don't need to talk to my dad and get permission to do things. I don't know. They don't explain it. He just blows it up.
I think that in a Superman sort of way, like he can make another one of those, and like that's a little bit like
glow stick out there and
it's a little bit like part of the.
That's what happens if you leave it in the freezer too long.
But it starts out like a freezer pop. It's just liquid, but you have to put it in the freezer for it to, get.
But then you have to crack it, right? Didn't you have to crack it?
And then it glows in the dark. But what I was going to say is that's part of Superman Returns is like Luthor wants to get the Fortress of Solitude juice to like make his own island, and he makes one, but in the middle of the Atlantic.
That movie was dumb.
Yeah.
Like I like that plane sequence, but that's it. That's all.
I like Brendan Routh. Okay, I liked him. I like Brendan Routh also as the Atom in and then he played a version of Superman in the Crisis on Infinite Earth crossover they just did. He was awesome as that. That was like so cool. But I also thought even though he's a total scumbag now, like Kevin Spacey to follow up the Gene Hackman Lex Luthor, I thought was a brilliant choice, and he's really good in that.
He is. He's the best part of the movie. The movie's just really boring. Like I kind of feel like nothing happens now.
They talk about the custody of the kid and like the Lois moving on. It's kind of like that's the Trade Federation like talks of Superman.
It's like,
that's what it's like. I'm not here for this. It's like more shooting him in the eyeball with a bullet.
Yes. Yeah. More of that. Less of super stalking.
Yeah, that's like, what are they even doing in there? Oh, I bet we used to eat brownies together too.
I don't even remember half of that shit. So that's how little that movie had an effect on me. All right, so as we mentioned earlier, in the Lester cut, Superman, I guess, feels that even though Lois says, "Your secret is safe with me," he gives her the amnesia kiss, another new power that comes up out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. All the evil shit he could do with an amnesia kiss. If you think about it, oh boy.
Maybe he did. Who
yeah.
knows? Every night he has sex with Lois and gives her that kiss. So apparently, though, Richard Donner's theory was that Clark can never kiss Lois.
I thought that was Manx.
Oh, maybe that was Manx. Maybe you're right. But somebody's theory on that team.
Yeah. Mankiewicz said
Clark cannot kiss Lois,
but Superman can.
Just for like
Superman
like a story standpoint, or like it has to do with the magic of this kiss?
No, like a storyline, like a story standpoint. Okay. And I also think it has to do with the fact that they didn't want to use.
Yeah, that's probably it. But because one could argue, doesn't he take his glasses off when he kisses her, and that's sort of when he's Superman again?
Right.
Both versions of the amnesia kiss or the go back zipping around the earth, whatever. Both of those things are dumb.
Yes.
Both of them are equally dumb. It doesn't matter. I watched the Lester cut. I think maybe the kiss is maybe a little bit better.
Because
the kiss is less offensive.
Yeah, and then not only that, you get the scene where he goes back to the president and says, "I'll never let this happen again," kind of thing.
That is a good scene. I liked it because he's like, "I'm sorry I was away so long."
And then he flies off in his face.
When does he go to the diner? Is that only in the Lester cut? When he goes back to the diner?
This is why I have an issue with it in the Donner cut.
Here we go.
Go on.
All right. So he goes back in time to before he got his powers taken away, correct?
Oh, here we go.
Right?
Maybe.
Time travel bullshit.
Therefore, they never make the trip to the diner. And they never meet this guy.
Oh, so he just goes back in time and beats up this guy for no reason.
A random person, but everybody's like, I just paid all the money to get this place fixed up. That scene should have been cut out, replaced with the president scene, because it makes no sense because it never happened.
It's just like the going back to the Back to the Future thing. It's like where they have like this whole life that they didn't know they lived.
Yeah,
like that's something I never thought about before. I never thought about what you just brought up before.
That's you're right. That's why the time travel thing.
So it makes sense to keep it in there, but in the Donner cut, it and it's a terrible last scene to go out on.
It's also not very Superman-like. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like to use it's the same thing like
a petty revenge.
Yeah, like for him to
Man of Steel smashed up that guy's truck.
Yeah, or it's kind of like, oh, I can't play football or whatever. It was something they always. It's like a Superman trope, really. It's like he can't do things that normal people do because he's Superman, and but like to go and just. Yeah, to beat this guy up, even though this guy's a jerk and he's like, give me more of this slop or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. I mean, it's a funny little thing. It's nice to see Otis at the end. Otis is in the diner. I don't know where I guess he got out. But
Otis is funny comic relief. And at the beginning of the movie, we didn't get it talked about like Lex too much, but all that stuff in the prison is like fun. It's like snappy dialogue and like then the escape and everything. It's like totally that is campy, but I like it.
I do too.
I do too. Actually, yeah,
it's fun. But yeah, it's just that scene doesn't work in either cut. Not even for the. Although yes, John is right. I guess time travel wise, it never happened. I don't even know what did happen. How far back do you go? Like, it's just stupid. It's it's.
But they had to
go back. He went I can't remember now because I've watched the other movie since then. But yeah, I don't remember exactly where he went back in time and then stopped.
Well, I also think that like at the Paris and Eiffel Tower bit is actually like that's some of the better like Clark, Lois, Superman scenes. You know what I mean? Like that's that stuff all works. Like that's all
Yes.
good. It's like good.
I do like that
it's
scene, yes.
good. It doesn't like have. It's kind of like, she feels like she's in danger and she's underneath like the elevator and stuff, and like it just seems like it's not even as campy as any of the Niagara Falls stuff. It's like
Which Niagara Falls? We didn't mention this either. Dirks and I took that trip to
right.
New York to one of the conventions, and we stopped at Niagara Falls
Did you
on the way
go
back.
in a barrel over it?
We did not, but
No.
we did
we
make
did not.
plenty of Superman 2 references.
Yeah, we did.
Did you send Durson to go get you a hot dog or some fresh squeezed orange juice?
I did.
Yeah. Yes. I'm sure we made that reference.
Sure we did.
And I just kept saying, to a watery grave. That was what I kept saying that day.
But we kept saying, what a nice man.
Oh, he must be Jewish. So they put in the DonnerCut.
As
I
a
don't know.
tribute to the Schusters and Siegels of the world.
Exactly. Yes. Very good. Who apparently wept when they saw the original Superman. So that's nice.
They were like,
But,
we could have made so much money.
Yeah.
But Neil Adams actually hooked them up. But still, when that movie came out, they still were pretty broke.
Yes. Yeah. It's rough. Yeah. So I mean, this movie is being talked about a lot these days by fans because there's eerie similarities between this and the Justice League Snyder Cut, which we've made references to.
Well, you said we're going to talk about that later. I didn't know you were actually going to talk about this later because I haven't heard anything about these comparisons. So bring them on. Bring them on.
So I don't know the facts about the Snyder Cut. From what I heard, Zack Snyder left because his daughter died, right? So he just didn't want to finish the movie. But apparently Joss Whedon had already been brought in sort of a Richard Lester kind of a role to punch up some dialogue.
Punch it up.
And apparently the studio was already kind of like, hey, Snyder, you've been dragging your feet on this. It's a little long. You're going a little over budget, all this stuff. I don't know what
You're
to
going
believe.
a little over stupid with
He's
the
like,
dumb movies.
I haven't even seen the budget, he said.
Well, I mean, also, apparently Richard Donner did have in mind to do multiple Superman movies, like 3, 4, 5, Beyond 2, which you shot 75% of. So it's similar to Zack Snyder on Justice League, multiple multiple
he was planning
episodes,
on more.
Installments.
He started with Man of Steel, and it was going to be more.
Right. I don't know. I don't know what
Batman v Superman, and then Justice League, maybe another Justice League movie after. I think that was kind of the plan.
Yeah, that was the plan. There was going to be a Justice League 1 and 2, similar to Avengers and
kind of a whole let's do the Marvel thing, but over here, and then that slowly started to fall apart.
So I don't know what is true. I don't know what to believe. I mean, it makes some sense, but I don't know. I don't know what's true anymore. But yeah, there are some similarities between what Warner Brothers did back in 1980 and literally what they're doing in 2020, 40 years later.
Definitely makes for a good story.
Well, I guess, yeah. It's probably a better story than the actual Justice League movie itself. But yeah, I mean, I guess if they were going to make 2 movies, that's how they can make this 4-hour version that's going to be on HBO Max, right?
Yeah,
that's correct.
Crazy.
And then also under the same thing, there's no reshoots for the Snyder Cut, so that's kind of another similar thing because they didn't get all of the actors.
Yeah, well, apparently, what's his name who plays Cyborg? He had some. Yeah, he said that Joss Whedon was like a racist.
Yeah, he was kind of, and also this guy that plays Finn.
John Boyega.
John Boyega. He kind of had a similar thing, similar complaints against Disney about not sort of doing enough with it, and actually, and just story wise, they definitely could have done way more stuff with Cyborg in the movie, and I'd seen some of that stuff that they the backstory with him and his mom and him coming to be like a football star. Like all that fun stuff about Cyborg, they filmed all of it, and it'll probably be in the Snyder Cut. And that I think they probably could have done more with that, but Joss Whedon pretty much cut it all out. So I think that's why he's mad.
Well, I think they also told Joss Whedon that he had to have it at a certain running time, so a lot of stuff had to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
pretty sure
it is.
his views on race probably didn't come into it. Although everybody is now like jumping on Joss Whedon about being a dick, whereas like 10 years ago everyone was like, he's the greatest guy ever, we love him, and well, we have such a great time on set. So
I know, I don't know.
You never know who to believe now.
You just gotta also like someone comes in to the project, it's like you have a substitute teacher or something. It's just like, well, we were already doing this, and then you come along, and it's like we kind of had like a thing was going.
Well, it is very similar to Richard Lester, right? I mean, like nobody wanted him around. Like it's kind of like exactly what it is. It's very strange. Like it's weird that they would let. I don't know. I mean, it's obviously it's not the same people. It's funny. It's the same studio, I guess. I'll just say that. But
really,
I mean,
it was the Salkinds that were in charge because they had licensed the Superman property from Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers was like, we're distributing it, but they didn't really have anything else to do with the movie initially.
They also, well, apparently they gave them like what are the back end points or whatever. Like we're not really going to give you the money unless it makes money. Like
right,
you got to put the money.
Yeah,
up.
and then like Brando is like, I want points. Like so
Brando got like $11 million or some ridiculous amount.
Yeah, he had like a pretty high salary plus the points, which is like, but he's like, I'm fucking Marlon Brando, bitch.
Yeah, it was insane how much
Big
money
Daddy
he got.
Zor-El.
So at the time, it was the most expensive movie ever shot in 1980. Of course, it was $54 million to make. It made $108 million. It was on top for like 13 weeks. At number one at the box office.
Pretty
good.
Cool. The year of summer blockbusters. I mean,
well, yeah, until Raiders also came along, and I don't know when it came
like
out.
The age of big. It's when they started the cycle of like putting stuff out.
Yes, but it's like you didn't have a new like tentpole film every week.
Right.
Back then, like movies played in the theater for longer than they do now. It's all about opening weekend.
Now,
right now.
Well, I mean, it was.
Yeah, lots of people probably went and saw it a few times.
I'm pretty sure me and Durson did.
I'm sure we did. So this says USA was released June 19th, 1981. So yeah, it was kind of after Raiders, I guess, and Empire had their run, but. I mean, it's made a lot of money, and if you adjust it for inflation, it still makes more than any other Superman movie, which is pretty interesting considering even Man of Steel and all those ones have made a lot of money. But adjusted for inflation, Superman 2 is still tops. I don't know what that even means, adjusted for inflation, but but I mean, it's still my favorite. I'll just say that.
I think as I've gotten older, I tend to lean more towards Superman the movie.
I'll find that.
Like I like the characters. It's a much slower paced film, though. It's kind of like almost like deathly slow in some places. But I was really taking it in when I was watching it today. I was like, it's an hour and 10 minutes, and you haven't gotten a good look at Superman yet. You know?
Yeah, that does take a while. I might have rat fucked myself into like a fandom thing here, which is like I can't really like pick a favorite. Like I did go see Superman the movie last year or the year before for the 40th anniversary in the theater.
In the 40th time.
No, in the theater. I'd never seen it I've never seen any of these movies in the theater. So like I saw Superman the movie for the first time in the theater, and like then I was like when. Super into like comics and learning about like Superman and like getting obsessed with like John Byrne Superman and like being excited about Man of Steel and everything. Then it's like I felt like getting the DonnerCut was like the super like behind the scenes extra thing that I needed to have and like learn everything about. So like I can't distinguish the two versions of the movie in my mind, and I can't really pick a favorite between 1 and 2. But that's just because I've fandomed myself, put myself in a fandom of my own by not like no, it's like I'm in the Fortress of Solitude and everything's reflecting off each other.
And then someone's gonna take this saran wrap S and throw it at you.
And I feel like I'm wrapped in that little weak cellophane of the Superman logo, so I can't really.
No time for jitterbugging.
I think but it has to do with because this was probably one of the first movies, I went to the theater to see even. Like, so in 1981, I was 5 years old, so I was probably like, and I probably saw it multiple times and I loved it. Wore my red towel or my pink towel. And I had my uncle, right? So like, my aunt had just married this guy who was big. He was like a big football player guy. And they are no longer married, but he used to like pick me up and pretend to like fly me around like Superman. I was so into it. So that's probably why, I mean, out of all the Superman movies, I either cut, it doesn't matter. Like,
it's that cute.
Yes, it was. It was very cute. I don't know. I was super into it.
You don't get that excited when I do that to you now.
I know. It was like,
now I'm
like,
tickle. Me. My hip.
Ow, I hurt.
I couldn't survive a fall from this high.
It's just, like whatever the DonnerCut, but knowing how much went into, like, it's almost like, it's like, geez, man, it's a miracle this thing ever got made.
The 20th century alive.
I think too bad that I'll say it again. I think too bad that Paris stuff is missing from the DonnerCut. Like, it's almost perfect Superman movie film.
I do like, that's a fun scene. It shows a lot about Lois, I think, even especially like the type of person that she is and how it's that like, same thing. Like, they do it in the first one too.
I put her on the first Concorde out of here.
But she's always like getting herself in trouble, and Superman has to rescue her and everything. And
the French terrorists and the bomb.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. But I especially like, I don't like the jump out the window scene at all.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I don't like her shooting him.
I don't like her shooting him either.
That's not even a funny joke.
I know. Like, what the hell? I mean, imagine little kids, like, they're telling little kids not to play with guns, and there's Lois shooting at her would-be boyfriend. I don't know, but it still gets a lot of things right, and I do like when she's like, it's weird to think of you as Clark or whatever, and he's like, well, not to me, like it's. I like it. They explore some good things. It's got the big fight. I mean, let's face it, that's the best part of the movie. It's got Lex Luthor, doing his thing. It's out of all the Superman movies, it's by far. I'm not going to say by far my favorite, but I mean it beats any of the more recent ones all to hell. So like it's. Sorry.
It's all because of Chris. Well, you don't have to apologize to me. Think I'm going to say Henry Cavill's better than fucking Christopher Reeve? Absolutely not. Like, no. Hugh Jackman is definitely Wolverine. I don't disagree with you about Chris Evans because Chris Evans is there, but he's not. I don't picture him in my mind when I think of Captain America. I picture a different dude that doesn't look like that. Like, but Christopher Reeve, I think of Superman. I think of Christopher Reeve. It's the same person, and like. When I read the comics, I'm thinking of Christopher Reeve. Like, it's the perfect thing. He's such a great actor, and he's so great as Superman.
Yeah, you are right. This is the part. It's the part I was born to play, baby. But, I mean, nothing against, like I said, poor Brandon Routh just didn't have a good script. I mean, like, Henry Cavill didn't either. Like, they just don't have decent scripts.
Yeah,
but
Brandon Routh he actually got to do something with that, like before he came into like the Arrowverse and became like a big part of that. And then he was like just so great. That was like the role he was meant to play with the CW version of Ray Palmer, who's like the Atom's like a cool character. He's like Ant-Man. He can shrink really small.
Right.
He was great and funny and awesome on that show. And then he got to play, he played Kingdom Come Superman, actually. So he had like the black, like the Alex Ross, like future DC, the
older
black thing. And yeah, he had like the gray hair, and he was actually, it was superb. It was great.
Yeah. What's his name? Dean Cain. I didn't really watch that show that
I don't
much.
like Dean Cain.
What did he do? Did he do something bad?
Yeah, he's got weird taste.
He's an awful person.
Yeah. All right, then never mind. Fuck him.
Exactly.
What about
Terry Hatcher on the other hand?
From Terry Hatcher, yeah. Smallville there, Tom Welling.
Tom Welling's good. I mean, but that's
young
like,
Superman.
Yeah,
he's like 40.
Superboy. I mean, like there's something to be great about Smallville
each
too.
person that's played Superman has brought something to it, but no one has fully embodied it the way Christopher Reeve did.
And no one ever could. They'll never do that again. I don't even think Tony Stark is like a good comparison. I feel like they made the comic Tony Stark look like Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yes.
I think you were right with the Hugh Jackman comparison. That's like the only
Hugh
guy.
is the closest. He's the closest. And he's 99.999% there. But Christopher Reeve is. Darkseid is.
See, Hugh Jackman is a little too tall and a little too not hairy enough.
I like my Wolverine's hairy.
Yeah.
99, but you're right, 99.9%. I mean, it's still pretty damn good. But yeah, no one's going to get it like Christopher Reeve did. Yeah. So.
And really, he was the first of like the cinematic superheroes.
Right.
And so great.
In the 60s and stuff. I know there were other, but I mean, the first big budget, spectacular.
And nobody's even ever said Batman.
Well, no, he's like fourth build or something.
He's not top billing even in here in 2. I think I came across today.
Hackman is top billing.
And Brando wrote that into his contract with his fucking points and everything. Nice. He like really fucked the Salkinds.
It sounds like they
get out of it. He's like, I don't really want to do this. Why don't we just say like Jor-El's a bagel? He really was like pulling this crap. Yeah.
I know. He was Brando, it sounds like, I mean, it's just like late stages Brando. So I think he just kind of was doing whatever he wanted, throwing his Hollywood weight around.
And didn't they it wasn't there like, even on Apocalypse Now, he was like, I'm not even going to say anything really. You're going to pay me by the word.
Yeah, right. So weird.
My favorite thing when, Brando says Krypton, he says Krypton. But even the actress, did they do reshoots for, no, they didn't. Or did they? With Laura L.
No.
Like,
yes.
She also says Krypton.
Well, she has to follow Brando's lead, I guess.
Yeah. He wrote it in. He made sure that she had.
Make sure she says it too. No, he was not in the second one at all, except some footage that he wasn't. Yeah,
that they were Photoshop layered over in the DonnerCut.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, it's still fun. We'll have to see what happens. I guess with this Justice League thing, see if it comes out the same at all. But
I never finished the first.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna. I don't really give a shit, so I don't know why I'm talking about it. It's no matter which cut you see. I think Superman 2 is a fun movie, so that's it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna lean more towards the Lester cut because it's more of a complete film. If you would never seen this movie before, because
you've never seen it, there's no reason to put yourself in a fandom like I did. Just see the original cut, which is on HBO.
And then watch the sequel, and then stop. Don't watch any more Superman movies after that.
If you want to see some fun Richard Pryor, I guess just anything like where there's even like funny scenes. Like you just look at the scenes up on YouTube, like best of Superman 3, best of Superman 4.
There are no best of Superman 3. The whole movie is awful. Everything about it is terrible. There's nothing good in that movie at all.
I know. I said we could do a podcast about that, but I wouldn't be able to watch it too.
Yeah, I can't.
On a podcast.
I can't myself do that. I've watched it all the way through in my entire life twice. Once when I saw it in the theater. I think once we put it on when we worked at the video store.
Yeah, it's
the movie is stupid, and then it becomes horrifying when that woman turns into that fucking robot thing. That's the thing of nightmares. You know?
It's really bad, and it's got Richard Pryor, and it's just it's not
it's a Richard Pryor movie that happens to have Superman in it. That's why I feel that Superman 4 is the better of the two shitty films. At least that's a Superman movie, and it has Lex Luthor in it again. You know, it has Lois Lane in it again, even though like everyone is past their prime at this point. You know.
Yeah. They're both pretty bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, stop watching it after this one.
Yeah,
but
and don't even fast forward to Superman Returns, which is supposed to be like a sequel to Superman 2. Like, don't watch that one either.
Yeah,
you can just watch the plane sequence on YouTube, and that's it. Then you're fine.
I don't know. I think if you're Superman curious,
you can watch the eye getting shot in the eye.
If you're Superman curious,
I think it's worth watching.
Like
curious? I don't think it is. I think it's a waste of time because it's just boring. It's got one action scene in it.
Yeah,
and then Lex Luthor's plan is the same plan essentially from Superman the movie.
I think it's
is
I disagree. I disagree with you guys. We're a coalition of different voices here. I think it's worth people's time.
All right. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen it since the day I saw it in the theater, and I said this movie stinks. But I think it bothers me too because that movie also ruined X-Men 3 because Bryan Singer decided on leaving to go do this lame Superman movie.
And then everything got ruined when Bryan Singer turned out to be a fucking shit too.
This is before we knew any of that. Yeah, I know he's a creep.
Everyone's a creep. Yeah. Singer and Spacey they can find themselves in a little fortress of solitude in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, it's me.
It's bad. I like a lot of Kevin Spacey's movies.
I love House of Cards. Well, you know, I like House of Cards. I found to be uneven. I thought like the first season was great, second season was crap, third season was good. Then when he wasn't even on it anymore, I was like we watched 20 minutes of like I was like I can't even make it through this. This is just like I hate this.
Oh,
yeah, it wasn't great after he left.
Well,
they just wanted to finish it, I think, to prove that.
Yeah, they put Robin Wright as like the main character, which was the smart thing to do.
But you know, the smart thing to do would just stop.
They could have stopped. You're right. They absolutely could have stopped.
Like where they ended it was like a perfect ending if they just stopped. He's like, if he doesn't pardon me, I'll kill her. Boom! You never know what happens.
Yeah.
The
end.
All right. Speaking of the end, let's wrap this up. Right? We good?
Fuzzballs.
We're good.
Laugh it up, Fuzzball. We got stuff on Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast. LeaguePodcast.com, TeePublic. You know, they have a lot of sales this month. Check it out. JHunt5440 or Robin Hood comic book.
You can tell people they could go to LeaguePodcast.com/shop and your store's a link to there.
Right. That's right.
Key designs.
All that.
If you can't remember all that stuff.
Yeah, because then if you want one of Josh's things, just because he's not here doesn't mean that he shouldn't be supported.
That's right. We still like Josh.
Yeah, we still like Josh. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to you later.
Sayonara, I was gonna say Sayonara Superman. I was thinking of Sayonara RoboCop. That's it. That's all I got.
I'll buy that for $1.
Hey, you know something? You're a real pain in the neck.